back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Brogan, and today we are back for another trading stream. We're here. The Paddington knows, no, I'm here. Okay, don't worry. I know I'm like 2 minutes late. Okay, I had some trouble. My Prism streaming software froze. I couldn't turn the music down or anything, but I'm here. And I'm going to start a timer, okay, before any of you distract me, all right? Because it's not my fault anymore, it's your guys' fault. You guys distract me. You know, I never do wrong. I'm always, always the best. Like I always can be. But hello to all of you. Appreciate you all for being here. I don't actually have the advanced square stream up, so let me do that quickly now. There you go. Let me bring that up. There we go. Perfect. So hello to everyone on YouTube. Hello to everyone on Mind Square. Hopefully you are all doing really well. I am back for the obviously. What has that? No, okay, we're not speaking different languages here. All right, it's English or it's not. Pretty happy so far. The charts. I know I say that every single intro, and it is no different today. What we've been talking about has been going pretty smoothly. Again, it's been about 2 days since Tuesday, or it has been two days since Tuesday. So, it's had some time to play out, and it's been doing pretty well. Especially Bitcoin has been continuing downwards. So far, I think, again, on the screen it says 112.6. So we have been continuing downwards quite nicely. Obviously had a bit of a move upwards and then a move down, as we kind of talked about. Same with Ethereum. But obviously in Ethereum's case, we've kind of been talking about the idea that we could have had a bit of a longer term support and a move upwards, which also, might have a chance to happen as well. And Solana, I actually don't know what Solana's doing. Where am I? There it is. 182. I can't remember. I think I said 176 being near what could be a near bottom. Or not a bottom, but is in like a low. So want to see 186 is pretty decent, or 182 even. It's not bad. So we will see. I haven't actually looked at. But again, as I said, I don't really look at the charts of the Bitcoin. So I did actually know. To be fair, I did look at Ethereum. I looked at Bitcoin and Ethereum, so I'm a bit more prepared than I normally am. And again, we'll do SERP and Siri. I actually don't know what SERP's doing. I have not looked at that chart. Again, like I said, not gonna lie, I don't look at anything other than Bitcoin normally. Obviously, rare exceptions look at Ethereum. So we'll see how it goes live. But obviously, some people out there, they have teams which do their TA. Okay, I'm a one-man band over here, okay? You can kind of tell by the UI, you can kind of tell by the organization, but I'm a one-man band over here. Some people have got teams doing their own TA for them, you know what I mean? They got the whole team doing everything. They don't have to do anything. They just sit down, got scripts in front of them, they just say out loud, everyone buys them, they make a bunch of money, they don't have to do anything. And then, obviously, I've got to prepare everything, but it's fine. It's fine. Okay. Let's look at percentages though. Bitcoin, 0.87% down 24 hours. That makes sense. Again, the kind of expectation we had was we came to this order block of support. The expectation was that I don't really think this is going to be a part which holds main support. And it was just kind of a high time frame, temporary point of a low which we could see. But again, we're continuing this downtrend. It was more of a general idea of where a relatively internal low could be before we move up towards the internal, which was like 100 and whatever it was, and then continue downwards for the lows, which I think is exactly what we've done on Bitcoin. So that's pretty good. Again, I do think we're going to fly through that order block, continuing down to prices we've talked about last stream. So to see 0.9 isn't too much of a surprise, especially if it's been 2 days. Obviously it's 24 hours to be fair, but the movement hasn't really been, because you can kind of see on the right. You can't see, I'm lying, you actually can't see on the right at all. It's not even on the screen, but the little 7 day, there's a bit of a move up and a bit of a move down, so we've done pretty well. And then 4.65% down 7 days, so not bad. Ethereum 0.79% down 24 hours. Again, we were continuing downwards towards our equilibrium of the main range we had on the high time frame to find support somewhere, and then continue on doing our thing, find support on the higher time frame, and then try and continue back upwards for one last run for Ethereum before we potentially fall quite heavily. 6% down 7 day as well. Again, pretty big fall from grace. Solana 0.75% down 24 hour. Actually, of the three, the most up on the 1 hour. 5% down 7 day. We were at 176 at one point, so 182. Again, obviously not a crazy jump up or anything, but what I can see though, to be fair, on the right is Bitcoin has a really clear downtrend, and we've printed through the low. Ethereum has had a really nice uptick above old highs and is looking like it's finding support. And Solana looks like it's actually also doing similar to Ethereum, where we're actually upticking. Actually, I should probably move. I'm gonna move this temporary. You can see on the right hand side. Again, we will go to the charts, but can you see my mouse? You can. You can see Solana and Ethereum are very similar in the movements, whereas Bitcoin is still going below its low, but with Ethereum on there and Solana doing very similar movements. So pretty good. We'll obviously go into it. I do want to see what SERP's doing percentage wise. 4-1. I don't know what the exact price was. I think we've I mean, all I know is we're continuing downwards. I don't really know. I can't remember what exactly I talked about. I don't know which price we were at when I talked about it. And Sui is the other one as well. I think we're continuing downwards as well. Again, we'll go on to it later on in the stream. So let's jump to Bitcoin. So what we last talked about. I also made the right-hand side a lot bigger. So hopefully you guys can see that. You can see the numbers a bit easier in my mouse and whatnot. I also made the ticker green because all the lines I normally draw are black on white. But I thought I'd make the ticker price green so you can actually see it. And obviously, at the bottom of the screen, you can see Bitcoin, Tether US. So you can see the coins. Obviously, because the UI is a bit, choppy in terms of actually looking at it on like a phone, for example. So hopefully it's a bit better for you guys. If it needs to be made bigger on a phone, I can do so. But anyways, daily, we had this drawn. Again, I'm not convinced in this. I'm not saying this is going to be the support of the century. But it was kind of just a general area where I thought, okay, we might not hold this because I do think the general higher time frame trend is going to be, down. It's going to be, there you go. We're finished. Not we're finished, but you know what I mean. I think we'll continue down towards this 112. But again, the same thing I said last stream was if we continue to do the movement we're doing right now, because again, this is obviously we had these little tiny green candles, but this is the only green candle with any substantial body we've had in the last however many days, basically week of down move. We've had a whole week coming down all this way for Bitcoin, and this is the only candle we've had so far with this actual uptick. Yesterday, anyway. Obviously, we are continuing to do that. We're continuing to move down today. So to see we've had this expansion downwards and barely a single candle upwards really tells me that we're not just going to stop randomly. Like, we've had this massive expansion downwards. We had a bit of a recovery in these last two candles, Saturday, Sunday, and then the week opened. We continue to expand downwards. Wednesday, we had a bit of a recovery, and now we're potentially also expanding further downwards. We're clearly not slowing down. We've clearly not, had a period where we've hit a spot at 113k and go, that's it. Yeah, we've stopped. Bitcoin's hit its low. We've done a higher low. Let's go to 125k. Obviously, we haven't done that, is what I'm saying. I'm in the chat, actually. I should probably read the chat. Teaser's here. Good evening to you as well. Hidden Agendas. Kishan, thank you guys for being here. KB is here as well. I'm not pounding my nose. Hello to you as well, Kishan. I see you waving. Clearly, he's like a wizard, neither late or early, unless it's Helm's Deep. I am always right. Exactly. You've made a spot on point there. I'm never right or wrong. I am always in the middle. I'm just this component which just says its words, whether they be right or wrong, late or early, whatever it's going to be. I'm here. Anyway, yapping. Old support. Cool. We've got that sorted. We can jump to the 4 hour now. So what we last left off with. I will go to the 1 hour for this one because again it is the 1 hour. We had this drawn on. I drew this range we had because we were looking on Tuesday into basically 10. We were basically here. We were here in this 10 o'clock candle ish. Let's just go to the 1 hour. We were here. This was the candle of candles. This was when we were talking about Bitcoin in that really hard to see purple. You know what? Let's just draw it actually. There we go. So that's our last candle. That was the last time we talked about Bitcoin. That was when the stream started. That's where we were talking around about this candle. So what we did for what I was talking about in this candle was us continuing up towards these areas, 149, 114 and a half, and basically saying, I think we'll obviously, again, this wasn't really crazy for me to say. Again, we were just continuing what we were already doing, which is us. So I'm trying to look at some of these older prices. Okay, us continuing, continuing our downtrend on the high time frame. We produced this massive expansion, really nice, cool expansion for Bitcoin. We found our low. We're finding our low anyway near this area. Actually, this actually goes further down, to be fair, because the actual low before we moved up was here. So we actually hit that area pretty nicely there. But obviously, hit this area. But I mean, we can draw it from anywhere. It really doesn't matter. The equilibrium was round about that 114.3, 114.1. It's kind of that $200 area of an equilibrium. The general idea, regardless, was that we were going to come into this area and fulfill, this area, this general void we had on the way down, and then do a lower high and continue downwards. Simple. That is the process. So since our last stream, last candle, last covering of Bitcoin, we did that. Obviously, we had our process. We were doing our thing. We were roughly in this mid area, sitting about 130, and obviously came as low as 112, 370. But we did eventually hit that target towards the 114.5 area we were talking about on Tuesday. And then from there, we have continued downwards. And we have actually officially in the last hour and a bit... actually, no, it's not 10 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock. Stupid. Yeah, it was that candle, not this one. Anyway, whatever. Same thing. So within the last hour-ish, we've printed below this candle officially. So done very well. I'm going to delete this now because, again, we've used it. We don't really need to look at it much more. So I'm going to delete all these areas. And we can see we have printed... Oh, no. We haven't printed. Well, we're there, basically. We're near there. We've whipped past it, and now we're coming down. But let's go to 4 hour, actually, for this. We have a really nice, just normal thing here. If we go to the 1 hour, we can see it, obviously, in a bit of detail and whatnot. But general area, what is this line? The blue line also sits at the top of this resistance. Doesn't really matter. The general gist of it, anyway, is that equilibrium is sitting above 113.5 again. We do have some gaps, not massive ones. In terms of resistance, I mean, there's going to be resistance areas in these, in this, for example. There's going to be resistance in this general area. But the point is, we have continued downwards to at least on the 30-minute anyway. Obviously, the 30-minute, we do have a bit of a gap here. Actually, pretty cleaner on the 30 minutes. But the general idea anyway is we've come towards this low, at least wick past it, potentially printed. Obviously, depending on how far you zoom, we haven't had a really nice super print at like 112, but we have had a new low in this phase we've had, and now we're starting to uptick a bit. Again, I would continuously expect Bitcoin to have its price, continue downwards in this move. That's really pretty much all I'd say for this. I think we're just continuing downwards. So that's kind of the general direction I would give. Continuing downwards. Obviously, we've given our 112k prices. We've given our 110, 111 half, all these different areas, 110k in this old gap, all this area below this low. And again, I've already given my precautions for Bitcoin, saying if we do print past this low at 112k, basically 111,900. This is going to not be very good for us, if you will. And again, I went into the whole spiel last stream, basically talking about, the worse highs you do and the more higher lows you do, the easier it is for us. And the smaller the range is going to be in between the max high and the max low, where it's going to be a lot easier for you to get towards that low and print past it and start to, really come into that downtrend and start to print below lows and aim even lower for Bitcoin. And again, we talked about the whole idea of if we, okay, cool, we come to 109, 110k, do another low here. On the daily anyway, we've like this whole range here, 117, this whole range here is going to be resistance. We have this whole order block here of resistance. We're going to continuously produce a resistance. And if we draw kind of a range of here, let's say it comes to the midpoint here, let's just say. Equilibrium, again, as kind of within this gap, is 117.5. So even if we, in what we're doing right now, and I would expect to price on the daily to print as we are continuing. Again, we've barely even tried to recover. We've barely even tried to retrace upwards and come anywhere near 170k. We've just continuing down. I don't really care what the 1 hour says right now. I just really care what the daily is saying. And you can clearly see we've got this massive range here where we're just actually, to be fair, it's a breakup of two different areas. It's this area and this area, but it spans in between that whole area. If we go to the daily, you can't really see it here, to be fair, because it's not printed yet. But on the daily, it's pretty much this area and this area here, which kind of feeds into this whole area, pretty much. Sitting about 170.5. This just general void area we've continued to print downwards and just kind of dump for Bitcoin. Obviously on the lower time frames you'll actually see main areas. Obviously you have leftovers and whatnot. We have the main area. Is that blue? Is that good? That's green. We have this main area again, which we talked about. Again, we talked about that when we were back up here. Round about this Saturday stream, we were talking about this. So we have a range, spanning 117.5 all the way 120. This whole area basically. And again, this is a higher time frame, so we've got a wider range for this. So we have this whole area we haven't even come into, we haven't even thought about. We have the daily, we have coming above this high and printing with this candle. This is going to be resistance again, 120k, 118k. Here, this whole general area is just going to be resistance, and we have hardly even come to touch it. So if we continue to what we're doing right now, I expect we will do, and print below 112, I don't really care what the low is going to be, because once we have that official print and we come towards like 111, let's say, below that 112 low on, from 3rd of August, that is us officially like, okay, cool, yeah, we have had the period where if we continue downwards, we will have had this move. To be fair though, if we do this, and we've had this uptrend, and we have a move past this, and then we have in this one move, not only moving past this, and then moving past this area will also be resistance. Again, it is also an order block, but this will be resistance as well, 112. So we might not even necessarily, if we go down fast enough, we might not necessarily even get too high upwards towards these resistances and just can't continuously expand away from this area. But again, that we'll see how it goes. I'm not saying that for certain, but from what I can determinately say, and I have a feeling I'm not going to spend that long on Bitcoin today because there's not really much for me to say that I haven't already said. It realistically is just going to be, as we are continuing what we're doing right now and moving downwards in this whole general trend, again on the 1 hour and whatnot, we are continuing downwards for Bitcoin. Again, we have our equilibrium and such in this area, which actually we've kind of already wicked towards anyway. We have our general resistance, especially on the 30-minute. Within this range, again, this is actually a bit bigger. On the 30-minute, it would actually just be here from this last low with this range sitting here. But again, the 30 minutes not very high time frame. But on the 1 hour, it's mainly this entire... What is this color? There we go, 1. So, actually, you know what? To be fair, this candle is actually quite big in comparison to the gap. But again, even if you aim for the highs or whatnot, we have resistance in this move downwards as we are trying to continue down for the low. But to be fair, if we to compare our move here versus every other move, it's definitely not as strong of a move. So, I mean, again, if you to compare just on a general basis, all these other expansion downwards we've had for this move down coming from 124k and compare this move, it's clearly not as strong of a conviction for a move down, but it's still a move down. I'm not dismaying that this isn't a continuation for the downtrend. Again, I would like us to go a bit lower and actually print and actually officially print past the low and continue to do lower highs and whatnot, but it's definitely a weaker move down than every other one in comparison, which kind of makes sense. Again, we are nearing that potential area for a longer term low. We are also in a potential support point. Again, we just wicked past this low and whatnot, and we're kind of slowing down a bit. I just still don't think it's going to be a main resistance or main support area, and it's going to be our main stopping point. However, I do feel like, again, feelings, but it does seem to me that we are slowing down. So it would make sense if we are continuing towards this area that we start to slow down a bit and not really produce too much resistance on the way down, so that we can hit this area and actually start to go up a bit more on the high time frame and then continue, if we are going to continue anyway. And again, worst case scenario, I mean, you know what I mean? Like we have that. Do you know what I mean? Like we have our thing. Again, if you just look at this anyway and go, okay, well, what are we doing? Let's say this is our low right now, and our low has been 112.2, and it's basically an equal low. And we've had our expansion down. I've talked about this so many times in so many streams. Oh well, head and shoulders, this, that, the other. It's all it is an expansion from the high. All you do is wick past the high and you expand downwards and use that resistance for a lower high, and you continue downwards. That's all it is. So if we were to draw that shape out, we would see this so far. And it's not like it's a theoretical where, oh, we've done this high, if we continue down this way and whatnot. We haven't, okay, and I've already talked about this, I know. I will probably move on to Ethereum and Solana in just a minute. But again, I've already compared this move versus this move. And this wasn't really an expansion. It wasn't that strong of a move. We haven't, I mean, again, if you compare here, we have had periods where we've had these moves, but especially in this one where we have had a conviction of a high move, we had these nice candles. Obviously, this was a downtrend. We can't really compare an uptrend to a downtrend, but we can look at the individual candles. Again, this wasn't this was a pretty strong move. To be fair, we even come a bit higher. And again, it's not necessarily, we always guarantee to move exactly the same in every market all the time, or in every situation in the market, every single time. It's like, because again, if we moved every single move we had was exactly the same every single time, no matter what, there wouldn't really be much point in anything other than a singularized strategy to look at a chart. You know what I mean? But the general concept is, even if we go to the weekly and look at it a bit better, we can see it a bit smoother, where you can clearly see these moves upwards and then these kind of retracements. And then, yeah, okay, we did have this like pretty big move downwards, but we had this support, okay? And then we formed it again and we have this support again. Obviously, we've already talked about 90k. And then we have this again. We do have this again, but again, we've already started to come into it, and we didn't really do a new high or anything like that. We are coming down again into it. So there's not really much we can come into in terms of this range before we start to get concerningly low, especially on the lower time frames if we are continuing to do this move. But again, the consideration, if you to look on the weekly, to be fair, now that I'm looking at it, we do have this move upwards for a low. And again, this isn't really a low. And what I have done previously is, when we haven't really come to that equilibrium, is all you really do is you not just, oh yeah, we'll just draw it from this area and ignore this last move. You just extend the move. And this still sits that equilibrium just a bit below this last low, which sits the midpoint at around 90k for that optimum area. So again, showing signs that if on the lower time frames, aka going from the weekly to the daily or the 4 hour, showing reversal signs from this high, to continue down to these deep prices for Bitcoin. And again, the general idea is if we don't take that long to do that and we continue down, pretty drastically on the weekly, let's say, we've done this. If we just like draw it generally, because we've had these periods where we've had these downs and ups and then downs again, we can have these periods where we have up, down, and up again. And it doesn't really matter if we print past this, because again, we did the same thing here. If you look, like, we print past, we're in a downtrend, and then we continue upwards. So to just draw the general trend, it's the same thing. You can see that. So we haven't had that main low, I don't think, for this whole move, if you know what I mean, where we are continuing upwards. I'm not saying we'll go 147k, but if you get what I'm, putting down, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, where we have these moves, and it doesn't really matter what we do here, because all it really matters is the general move. And again, even if we have this, we're in a downtrend, look at the support we have there. Same thing here. We're reversing, we're going to be in a downtrend. Here we go. Look at the support down there. Again, we go down until we stop. We go down until we have reason otherwise. And I think if we start to have that reversal on the daily and continue to print past what we're doing on the 118.8, again, this low 112, if we print past this on the daily and continue to do that on the weekly, that isn't just a print past on the daily, that's a print past on the weekly. So not only have we had our low where we've come into this area and failed to do a new high and continue to stay in this area, we've now started to come downwards and potentially reverse on, or not reverse, but print past lows on weekly and the daily. If we continue to do that, that is kind of that could be our venture downwards. And yes, obviously, we're in an uptrend here. If we get past this low, we're in a downtrend. Again, same thing we had here. This is our major support. We've hardly even come into this area. I still think 90k is going to be a strong contender for a low. And again, going on the averaged kind of length. And again, same thing here. Obviously, we have this area here, massive expansion. We're in a downtrend. What are we going to do? And then we are in a downtrend until proven otherwise, and then we go up again. So same thing here. That's all I'm really applying is the same concept we had in these two last moves, where we have this area of just buy in general, or good buy area, where we come upwards and we're in a downtrend until proven otherwise, and we come to this area, and that is our longer term low for Bitcoin until we continue back upwards. So that is, as much as I can really comment on the high time frame, really high time frame. Again, lower time frame already talks about us continuing downwards. Again, daily printing past these lows, that would be the area. Again, we still have support in these areas. Again, going to the weekly, we still have a bit of a potential in this area. And again, I do think we'll probably come towards 109, 110 and see a low here. But that's fine. Again, on the daily especially, that is fine. We see a low there, that's fine. We have so much resistance that I think we will continue to do this downtrend until proven otherwise. So that is pretty much it for Bitcoin. I don't really have, again, all I've said today is all I said Tuesday. Again, I haven't really given a major new, breaking news Bitcoin. It's just us continuing to do this move we've had so far on Bitcoin. Is pretty much it. So obviously we will see. So again, it's just us really continuing down here. And again, until we print past, I'm on the 3 hour for. And again, it's just us until whatever this low is going to be, printing past here, we're going to see that move upwards. We're going to see that resistance. We're going to see that lower high, and we're going to continue downwards. So Ethereum, let's see. Now I have had a quick glance at Ethereum. I have drawn some things, and they're pretty ugly, but we have. So major thing, this, I know, try and avert your eyes from this. I know it's very ugly. I do apologize. I know it's very hard to see. What do we have? What do we talk about? So Tuesday was this down move, general day. We were still in this down move towards this equilibrium. Main point was basically, obviously, we had this major daily move upwards. We had this major gap. Obviously, we had this kind of gap. We kind of used it, came up again. Gap here, gap here, fill, gap here, resistance, come down, gap here, use it. Boom. We don't really have a gap here. We don't have a gap here. We have a high maybe, but other than that, we have the all-time high. So, and yeah, we do have a gap here, but that doesn't really matter. That's too far away. We have this. This is my main point. Now, I have a special purple line here, which I will get onto in a second. I think I have to jump back to the weekly, I think, for that. So we will look at it in a second. I will give my reason. Actually, no, we don't have to go to the weekly. But I will come back to the daily to talk about why I have a purple line here and why I think it's special. So 4 hour. What I'll say about this is, again, same thing like I was saying on the intro, or what I was saying on the intro, where we had Bitcoin continuing downwards, potentially putting past its lows, continuing the downtrend, whereas Ethereum and Solana looked like they were having this moment where they were trying to get a bit up above its areas. Again, it's been in this massive downtrend. We've come to a considerably larger time frame support point, just below equilibrium, coming to potential areas in this general shtick, and then potentially coming upwards again. You go down till proven otherwise, you go up till proven otherwise. And if you only looked at the chart on the 1 hour, you'd be like, oh, why have you stopped here? Obviously, again, I did draw some of these inter gaps. Again, we had this major area, we had these little gaps here. You can draw it from these little candles, you can draw it from the major void itself, which I have been doing quite consistently. Again, we did come to that area just below equilibrium to find a nice area, and then we've used that, and we've had this move. I will talk about this red area and this blue area in a second as well, but going back to the 1 hour. So we had downtrend, downtrend, downtrend. We hit a significant area, again, a gap on the 1 hour. It doesn't really matter. All that was really important, I think, for me was the fact that we were just about came below the daily equilibrium point, the most optimum area to buy, if you will, on the daily. And again, this whole gray area, this whole area, as a whole, pretty much was the main gap. And you can see we roughly printed in here that midpoint. If we actually look at the gap a bit better anyway, we'll probably see it. There we go. Again, it's pretty much just exactly what I've drawn, but you can see pretty much comes to that midpoint in the print, you know, maybe like $4 or $5 off, whatever it is, you know, from the prints. I don't know, 90, 70, maybe $17 off, whatever, doesn't matter. Came to this low, pretty much area. Again, the specific candle was this one, but again, the general low, we came to the midpoint, boom, and then we started to move upwards. And this is very clear cut. It's very similar to the head and shoulder, whatever. Again, you're coming down. These are just retracements. Massive expansions, just retracements. These are just retracements. It isn't really expansionary. It's just us continuing to come back up towards these gaps, fulfill them. You know, this is also an order block, actually, to be fair. You know, came to this area, midpoint of this area also as well, printing here. Doesn't really matter. Additionally, this was actually this range's gap, which again was what I have drawn here, but just basically continuing a downtrend is the main point I'm trying to make. And then we come to the actual significant area of, okay, well, this is on the higher time frame. We should potentially see some sort of, you know, support here, some sort of usage to find a new low and continue back upwards. We hit this area, perfect. Now we're starting to watch for this, and then the interesting thing that happens. We expand. We're actually expanding. I wouldn't consider this as a retracement. Again, yes, we did come to this area. We do have a gap here, and we did just about wick up into it. We did have, obviously, if you draw it from the main gap, we came to about the midpoint of it. But we did have a general area, and yes, we did have a retracement to this area. But the important part is we expanded from this area. And it's like, okay, yes, why can't I just draw retracements from every single area? You know, oh, I draw this. Oh, well, you know, we should just come above $4,200. And look, we shimmied. It's very hard. I know there's so many lines on the screen, but you know, this black line is okay. Cool. We're now in the optimum area to buy or sell. In this case, again, as soon as you come above that equilibrium, you're watching. So it's like in this case, we have the specific gap, but also we have the actual gap itself. Again, you can see that actually we hit the midpoint pretty much exactly on that gap here. Again, it also was. This area was the gap. It's red on red, I know, I apologize. But whatever you want to, however you want to draw your resistance, this is how I drew it, is the main candle. You can see this is the midpoint. We actually hit this really nicely. Really good example there. But anyway, so yes, we did have that retracement. And yes, we are on this downtrend, and we did do a new low. Fine, I agree with everything like that. And it is fine to say we do have that support. But again, if I could just continuously draw retracements and continuously look for that lower high and short and whatnot, and continuously draw retracements, we would be going down forever, wouldn't we? We'd be going down forever. We'd be always doing, you know, lower highs and continuously doing lower lows. So there's two things I always want to focus on when looking at the chart. It's, okay, looking at what we're actually going to do, and also just keeping, you know, focus on when is this not going to work. And this is a prime example. It's like we haven't really come to a great area. Yeah, we are just about entering into the gap area on the daily, but on the 1 hour, there's not really much here. We've already, I mean, yes, we did have a bit of a gap here, which we did actually use. You know, we had a little bit of gap here. We did use it and kind of come up again, but it doesn't matter. We're in a downtrend. We have a massive expansion, and if you ignore that completely, look to the retracement, we just about wick above the equilibrium, and then we continue downwards again. It's just a downtrend. Fine. So there's no reason for us to stop. But then you go to the daily. And you see we have that massive expansion, and then we want to watch for that retracement, which we're currently doing. Again, we wicked past this high. We are just shy of all-time highs. We worked past this high, absolutely dumped. Okay, cool. We have reason. We reversed. So now we're watching for this retracement. We found a high. We now want to watch for us to come towards equilibrium, come towards this area to find buy. And again, we're just watching that. And if you just look to the 1 hour, I get it would be confusing. I wouldn't understand. I might go, oh well, look, we have this tiny little gap. But it's like, if you're just looking at the 1 hour, well, why didn't we use this one? Why didn't we stop at, you know, 4,122? Why didn't we come even lower? And it's like, yes, okay, well, this is a specific gap. But if you stack it from the daily, well, we've only just got past the equilibrium. And yeah, I know it's very convenient. Oh, well, you've only just come past equilibrium and now we're longing. Yes, but it's true. The statement is, as soon as you come past equilibrium, you're starting to come into a discount. You then want to watch for longs. And in this case, we look back, okay, on the 1 hour, we have that gap. And again, this is all formed after yesterday's stream. So I am talking about, yeah, this is all formed from after last stream. So this is all new TA. And again, what we were talking about last stream on Ethereum, if you guys remember, what I was talking about was I think Ethereum is going to come down towards its equilibrium, and then once we hit that, we'll probably start to reverse and aim for the. I want to see if Ethereum can aim for the all-time high, because the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum is 9 day. Bitcoin is absolutely dumping and producing massive expansions downwards and finding so many new lower highs. But Ethereum's case, yes, we are obviously in this case coming down from the second most high of Ethereum in this whole situation. And we are coming down, but the difference is how we've got there. Massive expansion upwards. We have never come back to them. This massive area, again, obviously on the 1 hour, we can see we have uptrends, downtrends, all that sort of stuff. But on the daily, you can see we've barely come back to this area with this massive buy area. And again, I've drawn this whole retracement. I don't know why I'm on replay. There we go. I've drawn this whole retracement. Again, equilibrium is here from this high to this low. So we go back down. So again, this makes sense. And this is what we talked about last stream. So if we just basically, all I'm doing is talking about what we talked about last stream and how it's going. Let me delete some of these areas. There we go. So yeah, that's all we've done so far is have that downtrend. And if we just basically go off what I said last stream, which is if we continue downwards towards this equilibrium, find a low at this equilibrium, and then start to reverse, and then try and see if we can aim for all-time high again and go back above it. Because again, we've had all this expansion, we've had all this buy, and we have been coming upwards. And obviously we've continued to do so. And we can see from basically stream being basically around this area, we were already continuing downwards, continuing towards equilibrium, found equilibrium, and then started to obviously do a lower high. Yeah, we did come to this gap as we talked about, but again, we had this expansion, we found our new low, and then we start to absolutely expand upwards, and then we can pass this high. As soon as we come past this high, that is us in an uptrend now, or in theory, we've had a shift, or whatever you want to coin it. We've come upwards, and now we've had a massive, spurge upwards, coming past this high, these highs here. We've filled the rest of this whole gap on the floor. Or where was this drawn? Oh no, this is the order block. Right, okay. But on the 4 hour anyway, we have this massive area. We have okay, it's getting really hard to see now. Okay, I need to delete this. That is not what we want to look at. So this is the area. Here we go. Cool. So we have. I'm gonna delete this as well, so we can see. I'm gonna delete this because we don't need it. That's pretty much it. I'm also oh yeah, cool. Yeah, so we had this retracement. We had obviously main area here. We had these highs on the 1 hour. We had these highs. We probably have rejection block, whatever you want to say. I think on the 1 hour actually it's a lot better. But again, we have some highs here to focus on, and we have a very rough area here. For Ethereum, we actually, there we go, that's pretty good. On the 30-minute, we have these highs, and then we print past it here. So if I draw this, and then we have this down candle, which results in us printing past this low, and then starting a downtrend from this expansion. Let's just make it like yellow or something, I don't know. And then we continue across, and we can see on the 30-minute, we had a nice high usage here. So we have a 30-minute resistance in premium, so we found a resistance point. We've started to come downwards, so I won't consider this a massive. I won't consider this we're totally done with this retracement, because again, we do have a massive expansion here. I would be very surprised if we don't see resistance here, but if we consider everything, we've had this expansion, we have come to find a bit of a high within this obviously rejection block. Again, we have this wick above this high, back up into this gap, which fulfills it with this last wick here, and then we wick downwards and then start the expansion downwards with this move, and then obviously used it. So this obviously is coming from a period of resistance. As we saw on the 30-minute, it's also that order block. This whole wick here, we have found resistance in it, continue back downwards. But again, we are already in this uptrend. So again, makes sense. This is good. Fine. We might have this longer term resistance, but then we continue downwards, and then we continue in the process we're doing right now on Ethereum, which is on the 1 hour, in the 1 hour anyway, in this uptrend. Again, on the 4 hour, we've already printed past this high. So on the 4 hour and the 1 hour, we are in an uptrend. Daily, obviously, I don't really think we're doing anything. But again, I already had drawn the daily. We have had this expansion downwards. We then came to equilibrium, filling this, actually on the daily, this individual gap. And then we had this green candle upwards, which fulfills this. And again, you can see as well, that in this single daily candle, we can see the bottom of this is also sitting at around that midpoint. If we go to the 1 hour, we can see we are having this potential low. This red area is actually another area to focus on. I'm not going to go to like the whole reason, because I know I always over-explain things. So my New Year's resolution, my mid-year's resolution, is to just tell you that this is what I'm looking at. So this is what I'm looking at, the last high before the kind of reversal, if you will. It actually sits at the whole range, to be fair. It actually sits at this whole range, but I just drew this singular candle to look at it, and we can see, again, I'm not saying we're done with this move, because again, you can see we're still in this downtrend. We haven't printed past the high yet. We're still moving downwards, so this isn't done until otherwise. We also do have an order block on the 1 hour here as well. With this candle, again, we came into this expansion. We have this expansion upwards, which results in this candle. This is going to be support, and this is also the blue area, the optimum area of this retracement from it's getting messy, I know, I'm sorry. This whole move, the retracement is sitting here at 4,155, whatever it is exactly, and we have this general order block on the daily. So we have all this sort of stuff. We do have quite a bit of resistance on the higher time frames. I'm gonna start deleting some of this stuff though. It's very messy. But actually, no, the midpoint is here actually on 4,210. So within this range, I'm gonna delete this though. I will keep this for now, but it's not super strong. It's kind of a target. You know, we could fulfill this. This isn't so much of a guaranteed support. It's more of a target to aim for a retracement. We also have, this is the general gap as well, which also sits exactly where, you know, this order block starts. This thing starts basically. You can see we're just below equilibrium here. We've wicked, and we are continuing downwards, like I've said, but we are potentially seeing what could be a support in this area, and we haven't found expansion downwards, and this is perfect. This is perfect for our uptrend. We have expansion upwards, not really expansionary downwards. Again, we did expand downwards once, and then we engulfed it, and then we expanded upwards, and we've had a nice retracement. No expansions, no resistance. We've not really had any resistance form. We might have a rejection block high. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I think we're going to continue downwards, find our low in this general range, about 4,200, 4,180, whatever it is going to be exactly, and then we're going to aim for this high, 4,300. And as that continues upwards, I think we will aim for this high here. You know what? Actually, I'm not going to talk about this purple line. I don't think I don't really can be bold with it. I don't really want to talk about it. Because we could be seeing again, we need to continue on the daily, but we could be seeing a potential bit of an attempt at a reversal for Ethereum to start going upwards. But this is kind of a secondary thing. It's kind of like a higher time frame. This candle here could be of support, and this also sits in this area, but also 3,900 basically. But again, that'll, you know, we'll see if we get there, but I don't really think we'll get there. I think this could be our point. Again, really tight usage of this equilibrium if we were to use it, and I do think we want to go up towards that all-time high for Ethereum. And if we get past that all-time high, that is, you know, I think that's, you know, pretty doomsday for Ethereum. And then obviously we have these low points with this massive gap here, 2,000 or 3,000 on the weekly, whatever, 2,700 on the daily, I think it is. So yeah, I think we will continue to do that. But I do think Ethereum has one more leg upwards. Let's go to Solana. What are we doing? Let's see. What have I talked about? I guess we'll just look at the daily quickly. So looking at 176 being a low, actually pretty good. I don't know where the TA was for that. It's in one of these numerous gaps. Is it this one? It might be. I don't know. Oh, on daily, let's see. So we have, what is this line? Where's this one? Let's hide that. Let's hide that. What is this line? Oh, that's the all-time high. Yeah, whatever. Well, that's not the all-time high. That's the high we wicked past. Okay, cool. So we had this daily move. We had this order block here. We also had the area. If we go to the 4 hour, I think we were talking about fulfilling the rest of this gap coming past this high. If we looked at the individual candle, it was also sitting around 176 and a half. Our max low was 175.66. But again, like I said on last stream, the general price for me was pretty much sitting exactly at 176 as our low. I'm not saying that is our guaranteed low, because again, we haven't done a super high yet If we look at the actual move, I'm not saying this is the super high. We actually might go deeper looking at it, but we had a nice point usage here. And if we look at the 1 hour, yes, we did retrace upwards, but again, it's just we had this massive expansion area. This is the individual candle as well. We just fulfilled this and have continued downwards. So I don't think this is the max low, which I think is what I said also last stream. I was saying I think 176 we could see a low there, but I don't really personally think that is our max low for Solana. So I think we are seeing that again on this trend. You can slightly see it on the daily. We had a expansion retracement. I think we're expanding downwards again, so I do think we are going to continue downwards. And I think the main point for me as well is definitely looking at this gap here at about 170, because we have again, yeah, we did kind of wick into it. We do have this order block as well, yes, but I do think we'll go deeper than where we are right now, and the order block midpoint is this area. But again, it's not a super strong order block, because again, yes, we did come into this gap, but we only formed it within this candle, and then we expanded away, and then obviously we've started this downtrend from wicking past this high. So I don't think we're in a bad situation for Solana. Again, yes, we didn't print a new high, but we haven't printed past the major low. This is not drawn properly. There we go. That's drawn properly now. I didn't want to do that. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I do still, obviously we are continuing downwards. We did have an expansion. I mean, comparing previous retraces, this was pretty big, but it wasn't really a major gap, and it was only really us filling the gap as a whole. We also had a potential order block here. You can see a gap here, wick to the midpoint, and the main point is these two candles here. So drawing across this, we can see we nearly came to the midpoint here. Also having a nice retracement here as well. I probably would have looked at the entire gap as a whole. Optimum area probably being about 193. I think I've already talked about this, to be fair. I'm just actually going to delete this. But again, just continuing a downtrend. Same thing here, though. And this is the thing. I don't think we're in a massive uptrend. I don't really care what we've done here, but because the 4 hour, I mean, we're just on the 4 hour here. It's not like we're on a really specific time frame, and I'm trying to purposely mold the TA into this. And again, remember what I said. If we're not hitting that equilibrium, I'm going to continue this until we see our low, and then start to aim for that equilibrium. So if we continue these movements and continue down on the lower time frames, we will have these movements, which eventually will hit these. Actually, to be fair, this was actually a pretty big move, which stopped us. We didn't actually really ever hit equilibrium there, so I will concede on that. Yeah, we didn't actually ever hit. This whole move downwards, we never hit an equilibrium, so we never actually got a trade there, which is fine. I'd rather take no trade than a wrong trade. But anyway, going back to the 4 hour on the main topic, is this move is continuing that low until we actually see. I know it might seem like, oh well, you're just moving it until it fits, but you're just finding that until you find that low, until you get above that equilibrium, this is the low. Like, yes, you could consider this the low, and then you got past it. But look at the move we had here. Like, this isn't really the move upwards. This is definitely like, this is us continuing downwards. But then we actually hit that low. Finally, again, we did come to that higher time frame. We filled the gap here. Again, I talked about 176 already for Solana. Again, we filled the rest of this. We had this gap. We had the remainder of this candle here, which we fulfilled, and then continued upwards. And then we had this major gap for this downtrend we've had, just retracing to do a lower high. And now we're quite rightly expanding downwards. We've pretty much ignored this. We haven't really used it as support, because again, we're not supposed to, because we're in a downtrend. We haven't hit point for reversal yet. Yes, we have hit a gap and we have come upwards, but we have this massive expansion and it's kept us down. And I do think we'll continue to do that. However, once we potentially start to hit some of these areas, until we print past 155, we've not officially been in that super def downtrend yet. And again, if we look at the way we've been coming down, we haven't really formed a massive expansion downwards. If we look at this move again, yeah, we had a decent expansion. We don't have much gaps or anything of major resistance. We had this expansion downwards, and then we did come back up into it and fulfilled this range here and continue downwards, and then we did expand here. But again, remember, we're in this general uptrend. We've been in this general uptrend, and this is our low. And yes, we might have failed this high, but again, look at what we've done on Bitcoin previously. It's like we've had these moves where we've been in these downtrends and then just pumped again because we've come into the optimum area. It's very similar here, to be fair. You know what? Now I'm looking at it, this is very similar. Bitcoin's case, not now. It was like a month or however many. I don't know how long ago it was, but it was this move. It wasn't that move. It was this. So we had this move where we it looked like we started a downtrend. Oh well, we've done a high, we've done a low. Okay, we're downtrend, but we had this massive expansion here. And then we continued upwards. So it was kind of just these not nitpicky, but these intermediary moves. I'm not saying this move isn't intermediary because we're on the daily, it is a larger time frame. But looking at it, you know, we had these periods where we've shown in the price that we haven't done a new high, but we still can do a new high. And I'm not saying, oh, well, you've just said we do this. In terms of we actually look at what we've printed. Oh, well, you just said we do this. That should mean surely we come down to 145 and then go upwards. And I'm not saying we can't do that, but I mean, I don't think the likelihood chance is. But the point I'm trying to make is, although you might not do an immediately higher high, it doesn't necessarily mean you've done a new lower low and you're in a downtrend. We still have a chance to print back upwards for Solana, and we do potentially have grounds for that in this gap. And what I'm saying is we haven't, you know, wicked past this and expanded. If you think about what Bitcoin's done, this isn't obviously all-time high for Solana, but we've had a very similar scenario where we've had this kind of high point for Bitcoin, then we've wicked past it, and then we've expanded downwards. But in, you know, Solana's case, we've just trended downwards. You know, we've had these, yes, we have had big candles downwards, but we've retraced back upwards. You know, big candles downwards, big retracement back upwards. Again, into these, you know, this retracement, this retracement, this. So I do think we are continuing downwards, but I do think we probably might see a new low. You know, I do think we'll see a new low for Solana. Because we do have grounds to find support. Again, we do have this individual candle we haven't used yet, sits at about $170. It's not massive. Again, if we compare how Bitcoin has, or even previous Solana, like this, for example, this is a really good support. But you know, now we're looking at it, to be fair, we didn't even use this as a major support area. We kind of continue downwards. But obviously, we did have longer time frame reasoning for this. Again, we had this gap here we talked about previously. But again, once we use this gap, and then we had this expansion here we use, and now we're in an uptrend. And on the weekly anyway, we're in this uptrend. You know what I mean? Like, we've printed past this high. And then we have this low. So, you know, I don't think... The point I'm trying to make, I don't think we're in a bad situation for Solana. Like a necessarily bad situation. I do think we are continuing downwards, as we can clearly see right now. But I do think we could potentially see a low for Solana soon. Has Solana seen max high? Obviously, it depends on what speed we move at. But we have talked about quite commonly. Actually, we do have some other TA to potentially look at on Solana. I think, have I just drawn this now? Do I have this drawn anywhere? No. Okay, I'll keep this in its own world. What is this? I'm gonna delete this actually. And then this is, what is this? Oh yeah, that's the new gap. I'll delete it. I don't need it for now. We'll keep this, but I'll hide it for now. I want to show this because I think I had something on the lower time frame. Okay, yeah, here. So it was this 4-hour range. So yeah, we haven't really used this at all. Actually, we used it once here. To be fair, we came down, but we didn't uptrend. We actually didn't use this at all, really, on the 4-hour. I mean, it kind of makes sense in the grand scheme of things from this range, and we haven't fulfilled it. But the 4-hour, we actually really haven't used this at all. This is pretty trash, actually, TA here. But nonetheless, I wanted to see what certain things we had. I think we had this daily support. Again, I think I drew it out. It's similar to how we have on Bitcoin, where we have a lower 113, but it wasn't going to be the super strong support. I think it's similar here. Again, we had like a potential. You can see, kind of used it here in this general range. We kind of used support for a bit. Again, we expanded downwards, so we continued downwards. Expanded downwards, we used it, continued downwards. Expanded downwards, continued to use it. But again, we can see here. Okay, cool. Well, we have a deeper candle here, which gets used, engulfed in this move, in this big move upwards for Solana. And then we can see we kind of used it here for this wick or whatever you want to use it. We probably could actually look at it as a bit of a retracement here, and then, you know, continue up downwards in this 1-hour move. And we are in this area, but again, this is a 1 hour. I think in this case, you can sway more heavily on lower time frames or higher time frames. I think in this case, I'm just mainly looking at the higher time frame movement, and I don't really think, even though, oh yeah, well, you know, look, oh, well, we're putting past this, and you know, we could come upwards, but you know what I mean, I don't really think we've got much here for Solana. I do think the general, even though Bitcoin, even though Ethereum and Solana do look like on the lower time frames in very similar scenarios, I do still think it is still, they can move differently, even though they might still be in similar scenarios. I'm gonna delete this because, again, similar to Bitcoin, I wanted to draw it to show it, but I didn't really want to use it. We already have this draw. Oh no. We have this drawn, and then what is this? This was that retracement. I'm going to delete this as well, to be fair. I could probably get rid of that. Daily retracement, I'll call that. Okay, so yeah, I still think we are coming down for Solana. So I know I've given a lot of yap. I think it has been somewhat coherent. So what I'll leave off with is an actual tangible number. Where is that daily thing? There it is. So like I said, continuing downwards again. On the 4 hour anyway, I don't think it shows signs. Even though, like I said, on the 1 hour, oh look, it's going upwards. Just look on the 4 hour. Like, yes, okay, on the 1 hour, yes, we have had this little trend downwards, and we have printed above it. I don't think it matters though. And especially if we are in this downtrend and we've had this move, especially on the 1 hour, if you translate it from the 1 hour, we've had this downtrend and we had this like up, low, move upwards. If we move above, like let's say it's like kind of like this, right? And if we print past this, this is, and let me redraw it because I'm trying to apply a new kind of a new analysis point, which is why I kind of didn't want. I think it's like that, and basically, it's gonna be it's gonna be this. I think this would be it would be this candle. So this would be resistance. So it would kind of be like this thing where it's like it's come down, come upwards, come down, and then it's come upwards and come downwards like that, and then it should realistically use resistance like this and continue downwards heavily. Is the point? But again, it's arbitrary. I'll look at it on Saturday if that happens. You know, on Solana, and I will look at it. You know what? I'll draw a line. I'll draw a box. If we do this, obviously, we haven't printed it yet, but if we do this, I'll keep this as a tool to remember. But anyway, again, 4 hour expansion, retracement, expansion. You know, quite a tight retracement, but nonetheless a retracement. Massive expansion, and yeah, whatever. I don't care what we've done here because the general move down, move upwards, massive expansion, and now we're expanding downwards again. What else do you want me to say? We're continuing downwards. Aim for these lows, 175. Probably aim for these lows. I mean, it's not too far away as we continue downwards into the daily range here. There we go, this area. And I think from there, if we don't use this as major support, and again, it's not like it's a massive expansionary gap or anything. It's not massive. We've only just formed it in this move. So if we, and it's not like, obviously you can have a method of looking at the chart, and then you can have confidence, kind of personalized confidence scales, if you will, on that. So it's like, okay, how confident am I in this particular move or in this particular support? I think if I had to compare, you know, previous TAs to this, I do definitely think this isn't max confidence, but again, it is still there. But if we start to continue downwards and not respect this, then obviously lows will be, you know, used and death will be had. That's not, I don't mean death, but you know what I mean, like pain will be had. So yeah, 171, 172, continuing downwards, Solana. Let's go on to syrup. Okay, what are we doing? Let's see. Let's go to here. All right, so what was I looking at? Tuesday. Okay, so we actually didn't use this at all. What do you mean? I mean, it wasn't too surprising. Again, I think. Wait, actually, hold on. Let me draw this quickly. Oh, there we go. We didn't actually use this as equilibrium. I know it seems very arbitrary. Oh, he's cheating. He's cheating. I'm not cheating. No, I'm not cheating. Oh, isn't this what I said? Oh, I'm brilliant. 2 times in a row I've done this, I think. Was I on the 30-minute? Where was I on this? Was I 5-minute? What sort of magic have I drawn? What time frame was I on this? What time frame was I on? It was this time frame, right? Where was I? What the hell was this? Oh, here it is. Yeah, here we go. Right, yeah, here we go. So we had this, I think it was wicking past some of these lows here. We had this massive retracement in it. And then we had, actually, it probably would have been here, to be fair. But we had this rejection block, and then we came down into it, and then we expanded away from it. We had a line here. I think that's just the low. Expand away from it, and then we kind of came up a bit, and then we found resistance somewhere, probably here or something. I don't know. We found resistance. I think I was. Where were we? Where were we? It was here. It was about here. It was in this candle, let's say, in this area. And I remember saying on that stream, oh, I think we might see a reversal for syrup, considering I think we also had this gap area. the daily, was it or something? No, where was it? 4 hour? Yeah, it was a little gap. But we also had I think I remember drawing out both the big and the small little gap, which we've literally touched. So we had the high. Okay, I remember what I was saying now. So we had the high time frame reasoning for a long, or actually, this isn't drawn properly. There we go. For the support, if you will. We actually had the mini gap here formed after. Oh no, yeah, bit after the stream. Or during the stream, we were printing this. We actually had the mini gap there, which also was there. But the general consensus, what I was saying last stream when I was looking at syrup, was we probably might have a reversal for syrup because we've found this order block here, massive expansion. We've come into a high time frame point of interest, and what did? We actually used it. I know it seemed like cheating when what I just did then. Oh well, you know, I'm just drawing it back up higher. No, we didn't. We failed. We failed to get up and continue downwards. So same thing I've done on Ethereum. Same thing I did on Solana. We expanding it downwards, and then we had that reversal point. Brilliant. Wait, why wasn't this drawn on this point when I was talking about it? Was this an old? Where was it drawn? Oh, I can't remember anymore. Oh no, was it here? Must have been here. Anyways, I don't know where it was exactly, but I've drawn. Anyway, I had this drawn. A very similar thing actually here. We have this kind of movement nifty thing going on. It's very not great price action when you look at it on lower time frames. It's very hard to see anything with these moves, especially here. It's like this might be okay. This might. There we go. I thought so. This might be different TA. I thought so. Okay, cool, brilliant. Yeah, so it's a lot cleaner on Binance. I was on a different platform. I'm not gonna say names or anything. But we were on a different place to look at, and we actually have a bit of a differential in price action here, which we can actually look at now. We have this gap. We had this. We've come to midpoint. We used it with this candle. We then found resistance in this candle, and now we've come back down a bit. Okay, cool. We found this candle, and then we've continued downwards. And whatnot. We're actually going to have a bit of resistance in this candle. We have this high here. We had this gap, which uses high. We can see we came back up into this gap here. We took this high, tiny body. This is going to be a rejection block. We're continuing downwards. We don't really have a gap. We don't really have much of a gap here. We do kind of, but we don't really have much of a gap. And we've printed past this low. We haven't really done a print past a major high. We wicked past a major high. We haven't printed past any major highs yet. We've done a print past here. Well, let me look at this actually. Hold on a minute. Are we seeing what I'm seeing? That would be this, this, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. This is the 15-minute. This will happen pretty soon. But okay, let me do do 1 hour on Bitcoin because there's a lot. Oh, not Bitcoin, Binance. It's a lot better TA actually. Like the candles actually print properly, not on XYZ place. I will not mention. I don't know what my other TA is now though. It's just okay. Let me delete all this. I think it's just continue downwards basically. This is the daily. I don't want to do daily. There we go. Wait, where am I? Yeah, gap, retracement, mini gap, low. So I think it's us continuing downwards. Pretty much. We haven't printed above any highs. We had gap. We used, came down. We had a bit of a gap here. We already used it here. Whipped past this low, came upwards, and now we've come downwards. We have we haven't. Okay, this isn't. Okay, this is the old high. Oh, okay, this is the old high. So if we drew out this actually, we have failed to print past this high, for example. But if we looked at it on the 1 hour though, we have low, high, and then we come down again. So where would this be? This would be this high, and then we've come past this. So there's a new thing I'm trying to draw. I'm trying to remember how to draw it, or how to formulate it. It's like so I think it's this area in that gap for this high. I think it is. Kinda. I think is that right? I can't. I'm not gonna draw it. I can't remember if I've done it right. I'm trying to trying to remember how to do it, but whatever. I think general trend, regardless, I know I'm wasting a lot of time. I've got a minute left. I know I need to do Sui. I know I'm wasting a lot of time on syrup, but I think generally I still think we're going to go downwards. We had this, what I just drew on the other platform, where we've obviously continued downwards. We had this. Oh, we started an uptrend, and now we've started to come back downwards, and we've expanded a bit more downwards in this move downwards. We've actually formed these equal candles as well as we've come into this. I think it was a 15-minute resistance, whether it was. So we could potentially have resistance in this area here if we are continuing downwards, and we have resistance in this area. We could maybe try to aim for lows again. On the 1 hour for syrup, and if we are aiming for lows on the 1 hour on the syrup and we continue downwards on the 4 hour, we will start to print past some of these areas. We do have, what do we have here? Let's see. These kind of highs, equal highs here. We have this print up, and it comes downwards, which takes this candle, and then we kind of have resistance. So we kind of come back up into it. We've come down again. This actually could be a secondary resistance on the way downwards, because once you come back up into these areas, these form new resistance. As we've drawn this before on Bitcoin and Ethereum, where we have these resistance areas, and you use them again and form another one from that area. This forms once more. I think they get weaker over time. Not weaker over time. It's not like a damage over time effect or anything like that. But it's like they're not the official. They're not like super prints. I don't know how to word it. I'm wording this horribly, but this will be resistance in theory as well, which you can see we have kind of at the midpoint here as well. But anyway, I do think we're continuing down for syrup. It's a bit choppy in this region. You can see these equal candles and one that's a bit choppy, but I do think we are continuing downwards regardless on syrup. Again, the main topic, if we've gone from the daily, again, we've had this low, we had this gap, we had this fill at the midpoint of the range, which obviously fills the rest of this gap, for example. We're continuing downwards. I do think we are aiming for lows again, as we have printed past this low. We are very close to this. We've actually kind of done an equal Schmiegen here. Actually, hold on. Oh, this is not good. Hold on. There we go. We've actually printed a bit lower than it here, which is nice. What do we have here? Let's see. Is that green? No. We had this gap here. But other than that, actually, we have a bit of a gap up here. Other than that, though, really, I think it's us continuing downwards. We are very close to it, though. We just about shimmied past 40 cents. But again, the main topic is this low, which we are continuing downwards. And again, even if we do shimmy upwards a bit, we do have some gap areas. Again, we have used this midpoint. This will probably be a very interesting high as well, I'd say. Again, considering that we have this has come up into the middle of this gap, and we have this massive wick with no body, this is going to be resistance area about 44. So that is, again, a bit of more of a not a longer term high, but another high area for syrup, where if we did start to come upwards on lower time frames and do that on the daily, we would probably still see resistance here. And again, until, unless we print past 53 cent, we're still in this down move. We could, if we have this move and we have this low and we have this here, do you know what I mean? It's like, and if we print past this low, we're probably continuing downwards. But again, that would probably, that would actually probably be a good thing long term for syrup, because if we're continuing this move and we have a low round about here, let's say, for this equal area, and we can continue back upwards, and then we just about get past this low, and yes, we have printed past this low. We are still in a downtrend, but it depends on obviously how we get there. The new high would be this high instead of this high. So again, if we want to be more of a long-term syrup person, this wouldn't be that bad, I wouldn't think. So obviously we'll see. But again, still down for syrup, in my opinion. I know I'm 5 minutes over. I'm gonna see if I can transport my TA from the other chart to Binance, because it's a lot smoother on Binance than this other place. The other place is a lot worse than the lower time frames. It's a lot harder to actually look at what's going on when you have this to pay attention to, especially when it's wrong as well. This is different. This is different on this place than Binance, so I probably might move my TA over because it's a lot smoother. So that might actually make a bit of a difference. Sui, the one last coin before I end it. Not in that way. Don't you worry, I'm not ending it, guys. What were we looking at? So 1 hour. Let's go to 1 hour. It was about probably like 10 past 10. So it was about here we were looking at. So I think what I was saying was we had a support which we used, and then obviously came up to this high time frame. We have these retracements, gap here, coming down, gap here, flipped support to resistance, use resistance, continue downwards. We again, same thing we actually just looked on syrup. We found that resistance, and then we have another candle like this, and look at that, look how beautiful that is. So just what I was drawing on syrup then, where we have these cascading resistances from one singular order block. In this case, we have an order block, we flip it, now as a breaker block, we then use it, we form another one in this gap, and then what can we see in this formation here, or if you will, we actually use the midpoint pretty much on the dot actually, which is kind of like, you know, a nilth of a penny off, so very good there. We use that, so formed another resistance there. Again, we also had this major gap area here, which obviously we've come to fulfill. Again, this is also just us pretty much coming to this whole kind of gap area. We actually come a bit lower than here, to be fair, but you can see again, high to low, we failed, continue it downwards until we find that major low, and then we actually get above, and then actually very good TA here. I don't know why I didn't talk about this, because this formed, this formed after, so this is new TA, so very good. I wish I covered this on Wednesday, because this is really good TA. I wish I covered this, I was about to say I wish I covered this on Thursday. I'm going to see now. I'm glad I'm covering it on Thursday, because this is new TA, so this is good. Obviously we missed this because we weren't live, but again, high to the low, again, major low, coming into towards this equilibrium here, as we've already been talking about. I've been saying we're continuing to this equilibrium. Major low, finally got above equilibrium, now watching for this move. Again, major gap area here, just fulfilled it. Also have that major resistance on the daily, coming from this old resistance, or old support turn resistance, found main resistance, obviously formed a new one in this area. Midpoint is exactly on the blue area, which is exactly where we came to, which is very, very nice, or pretty much like exactly, well, 0.0001 for the penny, whatever it is, you know, really close there. And then now we have a continued downwards, just we have printed candle body wise, printed past. We are continuing downwards. Again, we are having expansion downwards, barely any retracements. So I do think we are going to be continuing to aim for this low. So, you know, 3.38 as we continue for SUI. I do think we are continuing down for this. Again, very good expansion on the 4 hour, which we actually have now just formed a new gap. So if this is the new high, and we are continuing to find a new low, wherever that's going to be, that's going to sit around $3.50 as well. So I do think that is also the last runnings of the bottom of this resistance area, also fulfilling this gap, also sits about $3.50, or wherever it is actually going to be exactly, in terms of this range here. Top of it again being about $3.50. So if we see our low soon, we could expect about $3.50, $3.51 as a high point for SUI if we continue downwards. But again, I do think we'll probably see past this low before we see up again. So that maybe that's at $3.36. But we're very close to this equilibrium point. I think what we've talked about though, let's go back to that daily actually. The main points I've been reiterating on SUI has been that $3.20 area, you know, just a bit below $3.10 area, coming into some of these gaps. You know, $3.06. We have this midpoint of this $3.20 past this low. So I do think we are getting very close to becoming past this equilibrium here. As well for SUI, to see if we could find a bit of a support, a longer term support. But again, we could go deeper. You know, we have this area. Yes, we did wick. Interestingly though, we actually came past this equilibrium and then came upwards, but we didn't actually get towards this high, which is interesting. But we did have that major resistance. I think we did. Yeah, the weekly. I think it was like a weekly resistance. Was it monthly resistance? Oh no. What was it again? Was it this? No, I don't think it was that. I think it was this weekly resistance here. It was this candle to this down here, forming this resistance. I think it was that. But also we had this wick on the higher time frame. We have this wick past here to continue downwards. So it kind of makes sense on the higher time frame anyway. On the weekly, we have this uptrend, wick past the high, technically printing a new high, continuing downwards. And the major of this gap anyway, if we look at where the black candles are printed, I've already drawn this, to be fair. The midpoint is $3.24. So I do still think we could, and again, the lower that is at $3.27. So I do think we could come deeper. Again, $3.20, something like that. I've been saying that every single stream I've looked at SUI, $3.20, $3. I know that's quite a wide range, but when you look at the higher time frame, you're going to have to give it a wide range. So about $3.20, $3. I mean, the optimum I know is talking about $2.90. I think we might be shy of that, to be fair, considering what we have. But I think $3.20 is probably a good area to target for SUI. And we're getting close to that. Again, we've been continuing this we've looked at SUI quite a few times now. I think ever since, you know, somewhere up here, I think maybe it was in this move, we've been continuing downwards for SUI. So done really well. I am 11 minutes over. I did start 2 minutes later, so 8 minutes in total, which is not very good. So I do apologize, everybody. I am overrunning the stream, but I think we've covered a nice amount of TA. I'm excited to see how it goes. We're getting very close to some of our max points. So obviously with Bitcoin towards that 112k area, Ethereum, obviously we've just started that move up potential. Solana getting towards that, you know, the new low past 176 towards its 100. I can't remember what the low. I can't remember what that gap was. 150, I think, or maybe 150. I can't remember exactly what price it was, or 168 it might have been, something in that area. But we're getting towards these areas, especially on Bitcoin anyway. Obviously, some of these, you know, Sui's decently close. Ethereum's only really just started. Solana's only really just started. Ethereum's getting close, and Bitcoin's getting close to some of the targets we've had for a while now. So we'll see how it goes. I will be back on Saturday. Now, yeah, that's pretty much it, really. I'm back on Saturday. I don't have a stream Friday. I don't think we're... Oh, no. I don't think we're streaming Friday. I know we have... I don't think we have anything on Friday. I think, obviously, we've been talking about Summit, but we don't have anything Friday. So I'll be back on Saturday for a new stream. I am writing up a new little widget for the stream, which is like an emote stream. Or an emote widget even, where you guys can like write in the... Oh, you're streaming tomorrow? Yes. There will be a stream for Crypto Warehouse. There will be a stream for Crypto Warehouse tomorrow. But from me anyway, you know, within the Crypto Warehouse, you know, universe, Cinematic universe, there is another stream. But from the individual that is me, you will see me Saturday. But I was just updating my, you know, I like to expand the user interactivity and experience for you guys on YouTube, and I want to make this tool set of things for you guys to be able to use in the YouTube chat where you don't have to leave. So obviously we've got the game, but I want something more general for feelings. I want a more interactive thing, and I'm building it now, where you guys can literally write like angry or whatever, and it's kind of an emote thing, and it averages out numbers. So if there's 10 people emote and 6 of them are angry, it'll like show in a graph, and we'll have it in the bottom left of the corner. So that might come out soon, hopefully maybe by Saturday. We'll see how it goes. If not, it'll be probably by Tuesday. So that might be cool for you guys to have. You know, a little emote thing you can see on the screen, and you know, I was thinking of having it where, if there was a certain emote which got a certain number of reactions, so let's say there's 20 of you and 10 of you react and it figures it out, it might show some on the screen, like a little, you know, warning, or like my face goes red or something, I don't know, something interactive, something cool. We'll expand it as it goes. But other than that, thank you all so much for joining. Appreciate you all. I will see you guys Saturday. Mike will see you tomorrow. Okay, Mike will see you tomorrow in his stream. We'll see you tomorrow. But I mean, I'm excited to see how this charts goes. So if you do want to see that with me, you want to see my charts again, do come along Saturday. With that being said, thank you all. Appreciate you all. Going to stream, mate. Thanks. Thank you, KB. Thank you for joining. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Have a great Friday. Have a great majority of Saturday until you see me again. Goodbye.